Note to the writers, I think there was something missing at the end there. Like, the last third of the episode, maybe? Alright, can we talk about this for a second? 31 minutes? 31 minutes is episode 2. And that's including the previously on segment and the end credits, which for all these Marvel Disney Plus shows have been super long. Take those things out, and this thing clocked in at about 21 minutes 45 seconds. Minus the commercials, your typical sitcom episode will be roughly 22 minutes. So this episode was essentially sitcom length. And I find that pretty ironic, because even a typical episode of a sitcom like Seinfeld, the show about nothing, had more things happen in it than this did. Oh, I'll get to that, don't worry. But first, there were some people on Twitter who got on my case about this. Well, what did you expect? Marvel said it was gonna be a sitcom. Did they? Not sarcasm, that's a real question. Did they actually say that? I don't remember that word being used. I remember comedy being thrown around a lot. I don't remember hearing sitcom. But even comedy isn't really accurate, because comedies tend to have jokes in them. Also, you're not on TV, you nimrods. It's a fucking streaming service. Your episodes don't have to conform to sitcom length. They can be as long or as short as you want them to be, which I'm pointing out because it's especially vexing that your new episode felt more like half an episode. Like they were in the middle of a longer form story, but once they were halfway through it, they were like, that's enough. Seriously, if this were on television, this would have played like an hour-long show that ended the episode at the second commercial break. The episode doesn't even end. It's not like there was a to be continued here. It just stops in mid-story. Even if you were dead set on doing shorter episodes, the 3-act structure is still a thing, or at least it's supposed to be, but they ended it before the 3rd act even started. They thought they only needed 2. What am I watching here? What the hell are these writers doing? This is CW level incompetence. And 2 episodes in, I'm seeing no signs that they plan on trying any harder to turn this shit around. Anyway, episode 2 begins with that 9-second courtroom fight being covered by the news media. Apparently, Titania wasn't there for a purpose after all. She was just running away from traffic court. So the fight literally happened for no reason whatsoever. Also, Titania is an influencer. Make of that what you will. I always pronounced it Titania. Weird. So everyone on the news is already calling She-Hulk a hero, talking about how awesome she is. People in a bar are chanting her name over and over, and she's not even there. She-Hulk! 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 Jen is outside the bar just listening to this. They don't know she's there, but they're chanting her name because she has to make an entrance, I guess. And Jen's a little uncomfortable with this, but diverse female BFF urges her to give the people what they want. So she hulks up, waltzes into the bar, soaks up everyone's adoration, and then complains about the She-Hulk name because now she can't exist without being labeled a Hulk derivative. Jen? Hi. Again, I don't want to have to keep doing this, but someone has to, and it doesn't look like the writers give a shit, so You are a Hulk derivative. The character came into being because Marvel wanted to own the rights to a Hulk derivative before someone else got them. Now, the reason She-Hulk works in the comics, when someone competent is writing her at least, is because she has enough of her own identity that people don't care about that, and she became her own separate thing. She overcame that perception, so her being a Hulk derivative didn't matter. And maybe if you weren't so busy doing stupid crap like whining about getting catcalled, lashing out at Bruce when he tries to help you, and lecturing the guy who watched his father beat his mother to death about how much worse you have it than him, you might actually know that. 2 checks and we're not even into the second scene yet. Wow, this episode's off to a great start, isn't it? Then, asshole white guy shows up, accuses Jen of doing that stunt at the trial just to drum up publicity for herself, blames the whole thing on nepotism, and then exits stage left with the line, "There's a hot chick over there, I'm gonna go talk to it." It's that last word that really hammers it home, right? The hot chick isn't even a she, she's an it. And you wonder why male fans are shitting all over your show on social media? Maybe it's because of stuff like this. Because you're doing everything humanly possible to exclude men and make them look like garbage. If you want an asshole male character, so be it. But at least make him a fucking character. You went so over the top with the asshole part that he's not even a person. He's just a vessel for the writers to make the male gender look as awful as possible. And isn't it really interesting that male fans don't seem to have nearly as many complaints about female-led projects that don't do this? Alita Battle Angel didn't have this problem. Did you ever wonder why that was? Think it over, writers. Because you've got 9 episodes and this shit is gonna get old real fast. They get free drinks because She-Hulk's a superhero. Jen still wants no part of that. Diverse female BFF insists that she could be an Avenger, and Jen really wants no part of that because of a whole laundry list of reasons, wondering if the Avengers offer healthcare, maternity leave, a pension. Are they even paid? Not necessarily, but they have saved the world several times, so they do provide a valuable public service, and what the hell, I think I can figure these out. Maternity leave? Unknown, but of the 2 female Avengers we've had so far, one had her tubes tied as part of a Russian spy program, so that point was moot, and the other is a psychotic mass murderer whose kids were created and then uncreated through magic. So maternity leave? Probably not currently a thing because there's never been a need for it. But you don't even have kids, Jen, and you don't seem to be planning to have kids in the immediate future, so why do you give a shit? As for healthcare, pension, salary, that kind of stuff, not that I know of, unless you're one of the Avengers on the S.H.I.E.L.D. or Stark payroll, but as we just saw in Ms. Marvel, merchandising is definitely a big thing now. Someone's been merchandising the crap out of the Avengers. That's where the real money from the movie is made after all. And does anyone really think the Avengers are not getting a cut of all that cheddar cheese? You think Clint could afford that huge plot of land on a S.H.I.E.L.D. salary? I don't think so. They might not be receiving traditional week-to-week paychecks, but it's a good bet that the Avengers are likely doing pretty well for themselves. Unless they need to pay to fix a boat, apparently, in which case they're But you don't own a boat either, Jen. So what's the problem? Then Jen's boss shows up with some unfortunate news. Because of the commotion with Titania last week, the team they were trying the case against had it declared a mistrial. Jen saved the jury members' lives, so they were going to be biased toward her. I guess I can sort of buy that. But then he says that he has to let Jen go because this makes her a liability for the DA's office. Say what now? Employing a superhero celebrity that the media has instantly fallen in love with is a liability? How? You already said that Jen did the right thing, so she has superpowers, so what? As long as she doesn't use them in court and a superhuman battle doesn't break out during a trial again, and there's no reason to think it would, why is this a problem? It'd be one thing if Jen had screwed up in some way and embarrassed the office or put you in some kind of legal gray area because maybe she doesn't want to sign the Sokovia Accords or something like that. That would actually make sense. But you're literally firing her for saving people's lives. And you don't think you'll attract more bad attention by doing that? This is asinine. Just like in episode 1, the writers are contriving a whole bunch of bullshit that makes no sense at all because that's the only way these dumbasses can think of to make their story work. Now, thankfully, it's not all bad. Believe it or not, the episode does score a couple points here because now that her secret's out, Jen is rejected by multiple new law firms. Suddenly she's getting humbled a little bit. She finds herself up shit creek because of this Hulk thing. So basically, Bruce was proven right, which the writers even allow him to point out to her. Only via voicemail, but it still counts. But they did blatantly ignore one pretty relevant detail here. Stark Industries probably has to deal with all sorts of superhuman-related legal matters. Jen has a unique perspective on that because of who she is and because of who her cousin is. So here's a crazy thought, Jen. Call up Pepper Potts. Or ask Bruce to put in a good word. I'm sure Pepper would jump at the chance to hire you. Why is that not an option here? Beats me. Otherwise, though, this is a small step in the right direction. Jen's having some trouble right now through no fault of her own, which makes her more sympathetic than lecturing people who have it way worse than her on how hard it is to be her ever would. Thank you. And then they even introduce a male character, Jen's dad, who is not an asshole. And get this, he's played by Mark Lynn Baker. Larry from Perfect Strangers. How crazy is that? And oh my god, if he's in there, they have to get Bronson Pinchot too. Like, if Larry's playing her dad, then maybe Balky could be like her wacky uncle or something. Or, even better, make him a supervillain so he can give a really over-the-top performance. I don't even care which villain, just pick one. Like, I don't know, like Nitro. Like, cast him as Nitro. Can you imagine how a fight scene like that would go down? Tell me something, Nitro. If I have to be She-Hulk, doesn't that mean Bruce Banner should be He-Hulk? Of course not, don't be ridiculous. I'm sorry. But I've got to find something funny about this stuff, because God knows there were no jokes to be had here. So Jen goes to family dinner. Nothing much going on here. It's just awkward jibber-jabber about nothing. Jen's idiot cousin Ched got promoted at the Best Buy, so he's suddenly doing better than her. The mom gave Jen's number to some guy at the coffee shop. Not for dating, obviously, because he's too young for her, but for superhero advice. The dad's wondering if Hawkeye ever runs out of arrows and has to go collect them after he shoots them off. The aunt offers to be Jen's stylist and do her hair, presumably to make her look like a hooker again, because that's what happened the last time she got a makeover. Really, it's just a bunch of wasted space here. There is a better scene after this, though, where the dad takes her aside and they have an actual conversation about all the new shit going on in Jen's life. A lot of it is just her talking at him about her recent run of bad luck, but he does get to be a dad and make her feel better about all this, and he's portrayed as a good guy who Jen does not treat like garbage, so that was refreshing. But don't think Jen's bad luck is gonna last for too long, because why would a down-on-their-luck superhero be interesting? It's not like Marvel has any examples of that being a successful formula. She literally gets a new job in the very next scene. She's drowning her sorrows at the bar when the head lawyer guy who she was trying that case against last week shows up and offers her this awesome gig on the spot, heading up a whole new division at his huge law firm. It's that quick and that easy. Jen's struggles lasted less than half an episode, and now, as if by magic, without her having to actually do anything or suffer any kind of real hardships, she's even better off than she was before! Jen Walters is back, baby! Back? You never f***ing left! You were on the bench for 9 minutes! That's not even a cup of coffee! You were still standing in line for coffee and hoping the barista wouldn't screw up your order! So any sympathy we might have felt for Jen a minute ago? Yeah, that's gone now. Suddenly she's the winningest Hulk ever! Which makes her less of a character we can relate to and more of a sock puppet for the writers to live vicariously through. Jen takes the job on one condition, that she can hire her own paralegal. That way she can bring diverse female BFF along for the ride, because it's not like DFBFF has her own opinions on things, or her own career at the DA's office that she might be happy with and not want to leave, or her own character that doesn't involve Jen being the center of her entire goddamn universe. And sure enough, diverse female BFF just shows up at the new job happy as a clam, and we don't even get to hear what she thinks about all this. You know, for a series that claims to be seen through a female lens, these writers don't seem to give much of a shit about any female character not named Jen Walters. Not that Jen is getting the best treatment either, but still. So Jen arrives at her new job super excited to get started, and her new boss explains that since more and more superhumans have been popping up all over the place these days, they've opened up a new superhuman law division, and they want Jen to be the face of it. Or rather, She-Hulk to be the face of it. So the catch is that she'll have to show up for work and court as the She-Hulk. Jen starts complaining to us, the viewers, about this situation. It's so unfair, she's totally qualified, but now everyone will think she only got the job because she's a Hulk, and none of the men have ever had to deal with crap like this on their first day, and so on. I can't believe this, you guys! I was unemployed, couldn't find a job anywhere, but just got sought out for an awesome new high-paying position without even having to interview for it, to be the face of a whole department where I get a big office with an amazing view and can hire whoever I want in an exciting, new, expanding field with huge growth potential based on something I can bring to the table that no one else in the world has, meaning that I'll have money, fame, and built-in job security for as long as I want it. Man, does my life suck! Jen, you needed a job. You got a job. shut up. So diverse female BFF is waiting in Jen's new office raving about how awesome this all is. Then, a new white male character walks in, and since we already checked off the one-dimensional asshole, now it's time to flip that coin and check off the subservient doormat. He kisses their asses, he made them a welcome basket with all sorts of goodies, and, get a load of this, his name is Pug. P-U-G, Pug. I wonder how much respect this awesome new male character is going to get. A lot, I'd wager. Anywho, turns out Jen's first big high-profile case is the parole of the Abomination. Obviously, there's a conflict of interest there, which makes things a little uncomfortable, but Blonsky asked for Jen specifically and even signed a conflict waiver and everything. So, makes it easy. Jen still has misgivings about this, of course, but if she doesn't take the case, then she doesn't get the job, so might as well hear the guy out. She pays Blonsky a visit at the Supermax prison, and there's a bit here I thought was neat. After their fight in Shang-Chi, Wong opened a portal for him and Blonsky to leave through, and that portal was to this room where the cell is. I appreciate when continuity is done well. I like little details like that, so that was nice. Blonsky's basically a whole new character now. His entire personality is different from when we last saw him. Now he chooses to remain in human form, to not transform into the Abomination anymore. I wasn't aware he could transform back and forth, but whatever. And he may or may not have become a Buddhist since being locked up. Okay. Also, he mentions 7 soulmates / pen pals that he wants to start a new life with and who have even purchased a plot of land for him, which could possibly be a Thunderbolts reference, but I might be reading way too much into that. They talk about the elephant in the room. Yes, he did try to kill the Hulk, her cousin Bruce, but he was under orders from the US government to eliminate a dangerous threat and pumped full of super soldier stuff, which, yeah, that is part of what happened. So he thought he was going to be Captain America. He thought he was doing the right thing, and now the threat he was ordered to take out is held up as some kind of hero, and he's been rotting in this cell for years. When he's not cage fighting in China, that doesn't seem like justice to him. So Jen starts actually considering this, because, wait, the government exposed you to experimental drugs which left you in an altered state of mind when you did all those things? There might actually be a case here. And Blonsky does seem to feel remorse for his actions and the victims of his rampage, so Jen's got some thinking to do. She calls Bruce to see if he's possibly okay with her representing Blonsky, but really she's already decided to take the case and doesn't give a shit what Bruce thinks. She's just giving him a heads up. But turns out Bruce is okay with it, and Blonsky even wrote him a letter a while back expressing his regret about that whole situation. The two of them are good now, so Jen gets the green light. Not that she wasn't all geared up to run the red one. And her and Bruce are good now too. So Jen asks if he'll be in LA anytime soon, but he might be a minute with that, considering he's currently in outer space in that Sicarian spaceship from last week, which, I'll admit, I am genuinely surprised that they're following up on. Now, this doesn't excuse how it was made to be a blatant plot device in episode 1, but I'm glad that something is going to be made of it, apparently. But there was a lot of noise on Twitter earlier that this might be setting up for World War Hulk, and I kind of hope it isn't. World War Hulk is a dark story, and to have the beginnings of it be as frickin' silly and poorly done as these 2 episodes were, no, it deserves a lot better than that. We don't want to pull a Thor Love and Thunder with World War Hulk. No thank you. Nevertheless, at least there's some kind of follow-up to the Sicarian spaceship thing, which I guess is better than none. I do have one question, though. Why does Bruce get perfect cell phone reception in outer space? I can't get that in my apartment. When I make a call, I have to stand in that corner over there and hold my phone up like this, or I get nothing but static. But Bruce can take a call on the other side of the Milky Way? Yeah, right. So Jen calls her boss, tells him she'll take the case, that she thinks it's a slam dunk, and he's like, cool. BT Dubs, you might want to check the news. So she turns on the news, and there's camera phone footage of the Abomination having escaped from prison and fighting Wong in their cage fight from Shang-Chi. Well, says Jen, that sucks. Yeah, that was my reaction to all this too. And then the episode stops. It doesn't end, because we haven't even started the 3rd act yet, arguably not the 2nd act either. It just stops. As if the writers got 22 minutes into the script and then just went out for milkshakes and forgot to write the rest of it. Great job, assholes! You really showed those Moon Knight writers with their thought-provoking storyline and deep, complex psychological character development whose house this is. And there is an end credit stinger, but it's just She-Hulk helping her dad with chores around the house. Helps him change a tire, helps him set up a TV, helps him carry jugs of water. There isn't even a punchline. She's doing chores and that's it. It's just a bunch of nothing. Which is a good way to sum up this whole episode, actually. Nothing happened. She lost her job, got a new one almost immediately, accepted her first case, and that was it. Something interesting might have happened if they'd bothered to write a third act for this episode, but those milkshakes weren't gonna drink themselves, so we were out of luck. Or in luck, depending on how you look at it, because that means this episode ended a lot earlier than it would have otherwise. So, hey, silver lining. Okay, all other issues aside, this was not as infuriating as the first episode. I won't say it was better, it wasn't, but it was less bad. The gender politics are still turned up way too damn high, but I didn't want to smack Jen upside the head this week. Well, no, I did, but maybe not as hard this time. So this one didn't make me quite as angry as the first episode did. One of the big problems with that one was how horribly they botched the origin. The head writer even said they didn't want to start with the origin, but Marvel forced them to, and it showed. That entire episode felt like it was written out of spite, which certainly would explain why it was so terrible, why it was so rushed and sloppy and mean-spirited and all that other junk. Now that that's done though, maybe they're settling into what they actually want the show to be now. And whatever that is, I can only hope it's something better than what we've seen so far. So, time to start addressing some of these problems, like your shitty storytelling, your piss-poor character work, and the fact that your show is a comedy with no jokes. Yeah, I said it. This is a comedy, right? So when do the jokes start? Do they start next week? Because we're 2 episodes in and I haven't laughed once. They haven't even tried to do anything funny. Jen might find herself in a humorous situation, but there are no jokes being made about it. It's just a situation. And it might be silly or awkward or quirky or whatever, but it's not funny. It's not gonna make you laugh. I have no idea what I'm supposed to be laughing at here. So if you wanted to make a comedy, maybe start actually treating it like a f***ing comedy. And hey, while you're at it, getting rid of this stuff wouldn't be a bad idea either. Maybe try to work on that too. So, episode 2 may have sucked a bit less than episode 1 did, but still, we're not off to a great start here. God, hopefully they can raise the quality level to at least mediocre before Daredevil shows up, but at the rate they're going, they've got a lot of raising to do. Thanks for checking out this video, and while you're here, do all the other YouTube things. Ding the bell icon and follow my social media for notifications when I upload new stuff. I also have a live streaming channel, links are in the description box. Hit that thumbs up, share, subscribe, make sure you're still subscribed, and I'll be back with more soon. Take care, stay tuned, I'll see you next time.